I'm here with Sarah Greening-Smith, who is a candidate in the Hastings District Council Heratonga Ward by-election. Kia ora, Sarah, and thanks for joining me.
Tēnā koe, Andrew.
Nice to see you and to meet you. Sarah, tell us a bit about your background. Where did you come from, and why are you standing?
Okay, so a bit of background is I was born and bred here in Hawke's Bay in Whakatū, Hastings. I grew up swimming in the Whakatū River. It's where I learnt to swim. And my family has been living in the same home since 1960. So we're part of the migration of families that came down to work at the freezing works.
Oh, yeah.
And we've actually never left. So I've stayed here until a stint in the 1990s when I popped over to Australia for about 9 years. Then came back, started my family, and I've been back in Whakatū ever since. A little bit more about my background is that I have 30 years in retail experience, which has given me an insight into the nuts and bolts of how systems work, which is what made me interested in council, how
Okay.
council works.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So what are you doing now? Where are you working? Do you work for a company? Do you own your own business? What do you do?
So I left retail management, started a very small business. It's a burger trailer.
Oh, yeah.
I started that burger trailer on the 12th of December, 2019.
Wow.
4 months later, what happened to us, Andrew?
Yes. COVID. Yeah.
And the first industry to really take the biggest hit was the food industry.
Yeah.
So I found myself 4 months later sitting on the couch, waiting to see what our country would do about that. So I came out of that. I think we all came out of that a couple of years later, a bit of on and off. So I ended up taking on odd jobs as well, because the food industry was just making its way back after that, until I went to help my son in his civil construction business in the end of 2022. So I've been there with him ever since, as part of his management team, and that's what I do now.
And the burger trailer, does it still get wheeled out every once in a while?
Oh no, we've shelved the burger trailer. There's only one of me, Andrew, so one of me is just concentrating on my sons, and the burger trailer will be revisited again at a later time.
So now you said your retail experience drove you to look at council. But what are the issues you're standing on? Why have you chosen this by-election and this region, this award to stand in?
So, like I said, I was born and bred here in Whakatū, so this is my home ward, really. I did run for council in 2022 for the Takitimu Māori ward.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I came 5th of 7.
Yeah.
But even though I was not successful, I learned a lot. I thought I knew something. I knew nothing at all until I ran. So that's given me the chance now to have a little bit of insight into the kind of things that council actually does do, as opposed to central government, which is completely different. So that's so when I say retail gave me an interest in running for council, I kind of talk about the nuts and bolts of how systems work. So obviously in retail management, these systems that are in place, they don't change. As I began to move around in my community, I realized there were systems missing from my community and other communities that centered in council, the decision-making processes, what their responsibilities were, duty of care, and the fact that there was a lot of those systems missing. And that's what made me interested, really, in standing, because I didn't see anybody really giving me straight answers about why those systems were missing in the first place.
Have you attended many council meetings, and do you know how our council works?
I have watched a few meetings by Zoom. I have done 2 submissions to council on the long-term plan and the annual plan for my community. And I've sat in on a couple of meetings, but only in as far as public was allowed to sit in, and
Yeah.
then they do the closed part. You was closed off, so a little bit of experience, yeah.
Now, the big issue at the moment is costs, and the Hastings District Council has debts of 400 million. They're paying $16 million a year on interest alone. We just recently saw that they've got we're looking at a 25% rates increase. The council's going to discuss this at a meeting. And what do you have to say about the debt that the council has, and what are you going to try to do to keep rates rises down?
So I'll try and keep this as short as I can. Before before Cyclone Gabriel actually came to town, the council were already discussing the long-term plan and how to fund that in the first place. And I remember they talked about that being 6% before Cyclone Gabriel. After that, I really didn't look at how much percentage, because the budget has blown out, and we knew that. We knew that watching the response. We knew that watching the money dry up from central government. So we all knew that it would fall on the ratepayers and what that would look like. So in trying to answer your question without giving anything away, just in case I don't make it in,
Yeah, fair
and I
enough.
take my ideas, I will share one thing that's kind of made it's kind of sitting in my head is Splash Planet.
Oh yeah.
So Splash Planet is currently owned by the ratepayers. That, I know it's a very small drop in a very big ocean, but it's something that we can control. I believe if we can either contract that out or sell it outright, with a provision that the ratepayers are still able to retain their, they have a subsidy, a
Yeah.
subsidized as ratepayers, as long as they're able to keep that, whoever they sell it to or contract it to. I think that may be short term. Now, I may already be talking about something that's on the table. I'm not actually privy to what they're discussing at the moment, other than what everybody else sees as it makes its way out of council chambers. But just very quietly, that's probably something I would look at, and look at supporting our community swimming pools in place of Splash Planet. So we've got our community swimming pools already that are crying out for staff primarily. So yeah, I would probably stick with those at the moment. That's what we can control. Splash Planet is, we close it down for 6 months of the year. It makes no money at all, so that's all you're getting from me, Andrew.
Well, I think this year Splash Planet did quite well because there were big crowds, but we will follow up on that and find out how profitable it was
Just
last
quietly.
year.
Yeah,
And
if there was something I'd cut.
yeah. Okay, no, fair enough. Now, what other local issues are you sort of looking at and standing for?
So like I said, I was born and bred in Whakatū. The primary issue that raised its head out here that really made me look at systems within the council that weren't working for us,
Yeah.
is industrial encroachment on our community. So industry is allowed to grow out here, but we are not allowed to build any more homes. They will not give us any more residential space. Industrial encroachment is not just on our community, but communities like Twyford, they'll begin to look at that. Parkawhai maybe in the future, but I'll leave that there. So industrial encroachment and a lack of a robust risk management plan in the light of cyclone recovery from Cyclone Gabriel. There really was no risk management plan for any of the outer suburbs other than Central Hastings itself. And all the outer suburbs, all of them from Omahu to Bridgepa to Parkawhai, out here to Whakatū, Tiawanga, Haumona, all have large bodies of water. I challenge why there wasn't a risk management plan in place, because we had the foresight enough to measure the disaster that could happen. So we've got a 10-year, 10-year disaster, 20-year disaster, 50 years, 100 years. So we knew enough to quantify that these are the times where disaster would happen. Why did we not have plans in place if we could quantify those times when disasters happen? So if I do get voted, oh, am I jumping the gun, Andrew?
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So if I am voted in, with an eye to the time frame left in this particular term, it would be to begin looking at more robust plans, because there are conversations around the environment, very real ones, climate change, very real, conversations around that. And I know just as a grassroots person, I mean, I raised 5 children on $23,000 a year for 10 years, Andrew. So
Wow.
I'm grassroots.
Yeah.
All we need to know is that there's a plan out there and what it is, what our part is in that plan. The saddest thing I saw in cyclone recovery was that there were no plans really that were working all together, which is when you saw our marae, our communities all split up and just try to do what they can to help each other through the crisis. So I believe, I like systems, like I said. I believe there can be a system in place. You don't need people, you just need the system. The system will work for itself. A safety system.
Now, were you personally affected by Cyclone Gabrielle?
No, I wasn't. Our community, we experienced about a week of lack of power. We did experience at least 5 days cut off from Napier and Hastings, almost cut off. Had the Havelock North Bridge to Hastings gone down, then we would have been completely cut off.
Yeah.
Because that was our only way in and out of Whakatū. And that was also for Haumona Tiawanga, like the Cape Coast communities. That was our only way out of here.
Yeah.
At that time, and then obviously the water receded and we were able to make our way, down past the Mangatiri golf course down there, and make our way out. Yeah. So as far as losing a home, losing properties, no, I didn't experience that. But I just stayed put. I could have gone out, but I stayed put in my community and made sure my community was ticking along fine and getting information in. Yeah.
Now, that coastal area that you were talking about, obviously that has been, the subject of great discussion, particularly regarding climate change and that, and we've seen the sort of receding land and the effect that erosion has had on that area. What do you think council has? Do you think council's done enough for that region? And do you think, as if you are elected as the ward representative, what would you do more?
I know for a fact that there's a great community group out there that knows exactly what's going on with the coast out there. I would continue to stay connected with their group and support them as much as I am able to as a councillor. I don't think council needs to come in and take over. I think it should stay community led because they live out there each day. And also as council, we have a duty of care to the other communities as well. So it's always great when communities can create their own groups to monitor themselves, and we keep that relationship up. So I know and understand that Anne Redstone is out on that side of town, and she kept herself, and probably will continue to be part of those groups, which is great. But yeah, I mean, the only thing you can do is keep an eye on climate change, which is something I think that Hastings District should keep a close eye on and keep up to date with. The climate, the change of climate, and take it seriously, really take it seriously, put somebody in place that can respond in real time.
So you don't think they've taken it seriously? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no. Bad choice of words, maybe after the cyclone. It has a stronger serious factor. Is that a better way to say it? So there's definitely needs to be a more robust plan out in those communities. But also, you know, come into Bridgepa, they had a whole gang of engineers out there on February the 14th, 2023, because they were worried about the dam
Yeah.
bursting out there, you know. So each area, like I said, has huge bodies of water that needs to be monitored, not just for the community, but for the whole district itself. So yes, coastal, extremely important. Just as important as Clive River mouths, you know, in Haimona.
Yeah.
All along Awatoto there, all affected, became a delta, no plan for that. So like I said, I mean, if you have systems that are running, systems in place, looking back on how we responded, we can at least put a plan into these places, a plan that works, you know, and is cohesive all across that coastline there. I don't know if there is one. Be good to see one,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Now, one thing with council is there's a lot of bureaucracy. How do you plan to sort of, if you get elected, cut through that bureaucracy?
Bureaucracy is necessary because we work with legislation and we work with laws. So we always have to make sure what we're saying and what we're deciding on is in line with any laws that we need to uphold. However, I would cut through the bureaucracy with asking for continuous and robust community engagement. On whatever we decide, we must make sure that there is robust community engagement. Has there been? I can only speak for my community. I would have to say it would be nice to have more. I would presume by the responses from Pakowhai that they might like a bit more community engagement. That's my short answer to bureaucracy.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance of the two. You know, who is the law meant to be working for? The people. So you can't have bureaucracy and no people. That's how I would balance it out.
Now, Sarah, why should the voters of the Heritonga Ward of Hastings District Council vote for you?
I believe they should vote for me because I have a track record of hard work in my community. My name is known for hard work. I am not afraid to ask hard questions, and I'm also not afraid to take accountability. I have an interest in not only Te Ao Māori, but I'm also on a board that represents multicultural ethnic communities. I was part of organising the International Cultures Day recently. So I believe a vote for me is a vote for the collective in our district right now. So I'm unapologetically grassroots. I'm unapologetically Māori and proud to be. However, I have a heart for those who also have other needs in our community, such as cultural needs, such as religious needs, and all these things are definitely, I don't want to say issues, I can't think of another word right now, issues that are now becoming more prominent in Hastings District. Business owners, you have different religious buildings and coming in and religious cultures. So in a time like a disaster, were we prepared for the different needs that needed to be met at the time? Muslim needs, you know, a hijab comes off. What do you do? Do you have a plan for that? Just disabled people, did we have a plan for that? So a vote for me is a vote for somebody who's open, whose eyes are open to that, and working right now on how we can all have the same duty of care across the district.
Because you're up against 6 other people. So what have you got that they don't have?
I don't know what they have, Andrew. I wish them all well. I love the fact that we're all passionate. I love the fact that there are so many of us. I really do. And I hope that I wish luck to whoever wins, but I hope to see whoever doesn't win at the general election, at the elections next year, local body elections next year. I hope to see them all there.
Yeah.
I think it's a breath of fresh air. I think it's a fresh perspective, and I'm sad there's only one in the Takitime Māori ward and one in the Hiratonga General Ward that we could stand for. Yeah.
Sarah Green and Smith, thank you so much for your time and all the best in the by-election.
Thank you so much, Andrew.